How's it going, ladies, gentlemen, fellow Star Wars fans out there? So initially this video is going to be a trailer reaction to the Ahsoka trailer, which just dropped. Might do a little bit of a breakdown as well, but also there is some other Star Wars Celebration news coming out as well, of course, such as brand new movies, one being a Filoni one being a James Mangold movie to do with a freaking First Jedi. There's even some old Republic teasers in there, which I want to talk about because you guys know me. If there's anything I want to see, it's like Old Republic content. And there's also another movie set after the sequel trilogy about rebuilding the Jedi Order, involving a character I think you're all familiar with from the sequel. So I want to get into a bit of a discussion period at the end of this video, see what you guys think about that. But let's look at the Ahsoka trailer. There's a lot of hype surrounding Ahsoka for very obvious reasons. Thrawn, you know, Sabine, and God knows who else, like Ezra and whatnot. So let's get into this. Okay.
Something's coming.
Ahsoka.
Something dark.
Thrawn. Oh. That's pretty dope.
I sense it.
That is cool. Just thrusting your lightsabers and just using the Force to rotate them.
This is a new beginning.
Sabine. Long-haired Sabine.
For some, war.
Oh. Hera.
For others,
Chopper. What?
power.
What? Is it what lightsaber is that? Was that supposed to be red? Like, surely not.
It's been a while.
Sabine.
Things have changed. I started hearing whispers
Oh, okay. We got Mon Mothma back. I was thinking
about Thrawn's
Thrawn.
return as heir to the Empire.
The reference there, heir to the Empire, baby.
We have to prepare for the worst.
What is with those
The
lightsabers?
Jedi fell a long time ago. There aren't many left.
Perhaps it is time to begin again.
Okay. That was, okay. Like, don't get me wrong, that looks really cool. I just still have those Force users on my mind. I feel like I'm being stupid, but I think they're meant to be red. They're more of an orangey kind of hue to it. You know, not quite yellow. I don't know what's going on there. And it's like at one point that guy was trying to recreate the Darth Vader Rogue One scene. But I'm very intrigued in these guys. Who are these guys? I mean, evidently there's some kind of Dark Force users. I don't necessarily want to categorize them as Sith just yet, but never say never. I am feeling a bit like a noob right now, despite holding myself as, you know, quite a deep fan of Star Wars. This is very intriguing, especially Ray Stevenson. He looks awesome, and his robes look very old, so these don't seem anything Inquisitor-esque. Not that Inquisitors are, you know, in this period, especially, you know, post-Empire, New Republic, because this is all between that time, obviously, after The Mandalorian, when we saw Ahsoka in Mando Season 2. But I don't know if anyone else is a Dark Forces, you know, the video games fan, but their lightsaber color reminds me of the lightsaber colors depicted way back then. It's a bit of a nostalgia kick. It seems as though he has this younger apprentice as well, and I like how he says, for some, this is a new beginning. For some, war, others, power. I think that's how the line goes, and then it, you know, cuts to her, you know, igniting her lightsaber and then taking down these officers here. I'm very intrigued in their story, and I think it's going to be awesome that, you know, as long as there's like a decent ass reason for like their origin and whatnot, we're going to see Ahsoka in some lightsaber battles up against some seemingly formidable Dark Force users. I mean, they do look pretty cool. I do have to admit that, other than the lightsaber color, which I don't know how to feel about yet. One final thing I do want to say about their design, though, is that it does give me Old Republic vibes. I know that's kind of weird to say because this isn't remotely like that, but they look like Sith, let's just put it that way. But the way their gauntlets are, the way they have like these little pieces of armor. If any of you have gone into any Old Republic lore, or even that of the MMORPG, to Knights of the Old Republic, the robe combination with subtle, blocky bits of armor that doesn't, go in your face really fits this aesthetic here, and that's something I really dig. One thing I do want to say about the younger Dark Force user, it seems like she has a kind of Padawan-esque braid. I think that could be important to note. There were rumors out there that this particular, forgive me, I don't know the actor's name, could be playing a Night Sister. I mean, I don't see any like blatant Night Sister vibes, but I'd love to know any and all thoughts or theories you have about these characters. Now, we also do see Morgan Elsbeth, the character that Ahsoka went to with the Mandalorian spear, or should I say Beskar spear, who she bested in that episode. Now, I think that she could be still working for Thrawn because that was key information to Ahsoka in Season 2 anyway about Thrawn's return. So it could be pretty damn interesting if this is all tied together. I do wonder, maybe I'm getting a bit far with my theories right now, is this all linked to what Moff Gideon is doing at the end of Mando Season 3 and how this is all like kind of ramping up into that direction, maybe even with Beskar? Are they kind of gathering Beskar? Because obviously Thrawn is returning, and as they tease, heir to the Empire, like, maybe this kind of very, as with Thrawn, strategic, shadow move to take on the New Republic when he's ready, and all of this has been ramping up in the background. But before I get too carried away, we do see Sabine at the beginning of the trailer as well. She's got long hair. I wonder if this is present day. I think she's on Lothal as well, but I believe there was a still shown at Star Wars Celebration of her having shorter hair, so either that's in the past and they're kind of doing a flashback and she's in her armor as well and she looks very, very Sabine, or that is what we see when she gets her hair cut when she signs back up with Ahsoka, because we do see in this trailer them greet each other and she says, it's been a while, and she's like, I've heard whispers. So I'm guessing they obviously group up together again, probably with Hera as well and Chopper, and they go on the hunt for Thrawn and Ezra, and she gets her hair cut and she'll have the kind of Star Wars Rebels look that we're all so familiar with. We do actually see a very, very brief kind of hollow version of Ezra with Sabine looking at this hologram of, again, a very tiny Ezra. I'm trying to zoom in. I totally missed this in my reaction, but this is technically our first glimpse at him. And what is going on here? I need to see more. I need to see, like, what kind of holo recording is she looking at? He is wearing a very, I would say that's quite an accurate costume of what he wore in Rebels, from the top to the darker patch on his torso there. So it could just be like an old holo recording of Sabine feeling pretty sad about it, but any theories would be very much so appreciated. Now, when Ahsoka says to Sabine, things have changed, I started hearing whispers, we got our first glimpse at Grand Admiral Thrawn, only from behind. Man, I really wish we could see a little bit more of him, but this is technically the first trailer, the teaser trailer. I mean, it's literally called a teaser trailer. They tease it, and then the official trailer will go a bit more ham. Obviously, this makes me be like, Thrawn. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when we see Ahsoka approach Ray Stevenson's Dark Force user, I just love the look. It's so cool. The subtle armor, as I said earlier, with the rose. But anyway, the location, it is very worlds between worldsy. Now, I'm not saying it is that, because it's not like you see like little kind of circular doorways or portals to different areas of the timeline, this, that, and the other. It could be like at the heart of some kind of temple, like what we saw Ahsoka trying to access, or whatever location that was at the beginning of this trailer. And, there's some kind of mystical kind of forcey thing going on there that looks like this. So I'd love to know what location you think this is. Maybe I'm actually forgetting something very obvious. I apologize if I am. But if you have any idea as to where they are right now, let me know. But it looks like they're about to face off because he ignites his lightsaber. Again, I think it could be like an old temple, because sometimes on the interior they have all this stuff, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of mystical thing that can happen to kind of encompass them in this kind of cool looking, spacey, world between worldsy-esque look of it, but probably isn't actually the place, because that could be potentially disastrous if you have a guy like this there. Now, Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera, we get another glimpse at her. I think she looks good. We don't really see so much with her. Again, I'm expecting to see a lot more stuff like this in the official trailer, maybe with them all truly banded together. But it is kind of weird, especially after seeing Zeb in The Mandalorian a couple of weeks ago. They really are starting to all pop up in live action. Either way, that gives, I'm not gonna lie, like, I think a lot of us, I just realized I've been wearing these the whole time, a lot of us, well, maybe not all of us, but are somewhat skeptical on new Disney Star Wars plans, but Ahsoka looks very promising. I think I'm just really, really intrigued in Ray Stevenson being a Dark Force user here. What's the bigger plan there? What is the location that Ahsoka is fighting him in? You know, it could be, you know, as I always say, live action adaptations aren't always copy and paste, so World Between Worlds could be looking a teeny bit different, but maybe not. I don't want to go down that hole too much because we just don't know. Sabine looks cool, Hera looks cool, Chopper looks cool, a little glimpse at a younger, the old Ezra looks cool because I assume it's him from the past, and Sabine just has a holo saved of him. All kinds of other things. It just looks decent. It looks decent. I hope it is decent. Obviously, Thrawn, the heir to the Empire reference there. But I don't want to get too overexcited, but just being honest and transparent here, do you feel like me? I think this does seem exciting, and I don't want to go off like the recency bias of just seeing a fresh trailer, but the content in that looks intriguing, and I just hope that the lore, I think for me, behind the Dark Forces here, not only including Thrawn and the Heir to the Empire reference, but also the Dark Force users, all of that, is like really rich, and they make something of it that is really, really badass. So let me know your thoughts there, but one thing I wanted to do before ending today's video is go over what else has been announced at Star Wars Celebration today. We can even tie Ezra Bridger into that as well with one of them. So first and foremost, we do have a picture, and I'm taking Discussing Films tweets here. Shout out to them because they're covering this event. So first of all, to say future Star Wars projects will span all of these eras. Now, this is what got me excited. So obviously, let's go from last to first. So you have Rise of the First Order, you know, sequel trilogy stuff. The New Republic being, you know, I guess in that period as well, post Return of the Jedi, the beginning of the sequel trilogy, if you will. Age of Rebellion, before that, obviously, right at the end of the original trilogy. Reign of the Empire as well, around that time period. Fall of the Jedi being the prequels. And then you have the High Republic. We know we're getting content around there. So, like, all of this makes sense. We're getting projects in this period, you know, whether that's Andor, Mandalorian in another section, future Star Wars stuff in the sequel trilogy, which we're about to get to. We know we're getting High Republic stuff with the Acolyte. But what else do I see there? I see the Old Republic. I see the Old Republic. Now, they haven't announced anything just yet with the Old Republic, but my God, are fans thirsty for it, for whether that's Darth Bane, whether you want to go down the Knights of the Old Republic route with Revan, Malak, Bastila Shan and stuff there, or original stories in that period would be really, really awesome. It's just, it is so good. So hopefully, maybe over the next couple of days, there's more stuff announced there as well. So let me know what you think of that. They did put the Old Republic on the freaking map there, and they said future Star Wars projects will span all of these eras. We know we're getting a remake of Knights of the Old Republic, but I don't think that would be the only thing under that little logo at the beginning there, so you know, fingers crossed. So up next, they say Dave Filoni will direct a Star Wars film culminating the events of the Mandoverse. Very intriguing. So maybe we're going to get up to a point with the Mandalorian, and, you know, we are getting back to retaking Mandalore and everything like that, but, you know, and we're meant to be getting future seasons with the way they've spoken about it, but it seems that some point in the future, Filoni will be directing a film truly culminating the events of the Mandoverse. So it's going to be an insane film, I imagine, with just an event that warrants a movie for him to direct and go ham with. So that's really, really intriguing as well. Up next, we have James Mangold will direct a Star Wars film about the First Jedi, described as a biblical epic. That could be cool. That could be cool, but I wonder, you know, like what a lot of other people are saying, if it actually happens, because you guys know how many Star Wars projects get cancelled. One thing I do want to say though, with James Mangold's era of Star Wars, is that they added another logo into that timeline of movies that they're going to make, with all the future projects being across all of those. And his is before the Old Republic. They added Dawn of the Jedi. So that would be the biblical epic about the first Jedi. So meaning that we still could get some cool Old Republic content. Again, hoping for Darth Bane. Now, another tweet is very interesting here, saying Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's Star Wars film will follow the establishing of a new Jedi Order. It is set 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker. Now, when you go up, it says Daisy Ridley will return as Rey in this movie, and Rey will rebuild the Jedi Order. So she'll be 15 years older. First of all, I said that Ezra Bridger could connect into all of this. Maybe, and this could be down the line a little bit, obviously, like they're not saying these movies are going to start production next year, but I wonder if, after all of the events with Ahsoka, this, that, and the other, this taking place 15 years into the future, could Ezra Bridger join this rebuilt Jedi Order, or Rey rebuilding the Jedi Order? I wonder what she's been up to for the past 15 years after the events of Rise of Skywalker. Maybe she's been rebuilding it the whole time, or maybe 15 years later she starts rebuilding the Jedi Order after, I don't know, scouring the galaxy and maybe doing similar things to Luke and educating herself. I really don't know. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be like, is John Boyega going to come back and they're going to finally bring to fruition the Finn thing? He has said quite a few things about Star Wars, and I don't necessarily think, that would stop him from coming back, but he has been quite vocal and he just enjoys being a fan again, and he's gone over his experience with Star Wars, and it hasn't been the worst things that he's said. It's just he's been quite truthful with certain comments and thoughts he's had reflecting back on that time, to the point of where I wonder, would he step back into that universe? Maybe he would if they offered him hey, this is 15 years later. Finn would still be friends with Rey. It makes sense that she could have trained you in these years. Do you want in or don't you want in? This is another feature film. And he might say yes. He might say yes. And I think fans would be it's kind of weird though, no matter what has been said in real life, if he wasn't in there, because again, Finn would be involved, you would have thought headcanon-wise. But another question I need to ask you guys is, are you even excited for that? Are you excited for a sequel trilogy movie? Well, it's not a sequel trilogy, but another movie, post-sequel trilogy, with Rey rebuilding the Jedi Order 15 years after they finally beat Palpatine again. If I'm being truly honest here, I don't know how to feel about it. I think for me, when we finally see that trailer and I dig it, I'll dig it. If that's the kind of thing. But right now, I'm not the biggest fan of the sequel trilogy. I'm not coming down here or absolutely hating it on it or anything like that. I think kind of a lot of people, even though I know a lot of people out there love it as well, I'm just a bit so this isn't on my priority list, but I'm not opposed to seeing a trailer like what I just saw with Ahsoka and just being oh, this looks really cool. She's rebuilding the Jedi Order. Finn's there. Well, there's this going on. There's that. But for now, that's kind of that paperwork's put over here. For now, that is the Star Wars info. James Mangold, Dave Filoni, and Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, I'm probably butchering the name, are the movies we've got right now. It is encouraging to me, once again, to see that timeline, see the Old Republic separate to Dawn of the Jedi. So I've got hope for Old Republic projects that could be announced. I don't know if they're going to announce it over the next couple of days. I have no idea. I'm not at Star Wars Celebration, which, kind of sucks at the same time because it's in London. But either way, guys, those are my thoughts on the Ahsoka trailer, the announcements. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments below. Let's share in this news together. Let's talk about it, discuss, theorize, speculate. Let me know everything juicy that is flowing through your minds and what your reaction was to all of this. But if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it. I really appreciate that. Trying to do more Star Wars content. Do subscribe if you want more news, information on things like this, and breakdowns across all kinds of things. But until next time, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and may the Force be with you always.